Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. Race number 9 at Belmont Park on Belmont Stakes Saturday is the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. The Met Mile, a one-turn mile, and you can bet it with your very own DRF Bets account. Join the Belmont Stakes action, all the stakes on the card with free cash. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Here's the field for the Met. You've got some hard-hitting middle-distance horses racing for $1.2 million in purse money. And we got to begin with the number 1, Mind Your Biscuits, Matt. I mean, this horse, a two-time winner of the Dubai Golden Shaheen, and the way he won that race last time out, I know he got a wicked pace to attack, but I can't imagine any other horse in the Met Mile winning the Golden Shaheen under those circumstances, and somehow Mind Your Biscuits did it.
Yeah, I still don't know how he won that race. That was the most impressive performance of the entire evening, including a blowout effort from Mendelssohn in the UAE Derby. But considering the way that racetrack was playing, the fact that Mind Your Biscuits was able to get up and against the field that he did it against with the XY Jets and the Roy H's of the world in there, I mean, really, you run out of superlatives to talk about how good that effort was. Now the question is, off of this little bit of a layoff, he's come back and he's run well from Dubai in the past. Can he do it at 8 furlongs? Because that's going to be really I don't know how much of a question it is because he's run well at 8 in the past, but off of this sort of a layoff, is he ready to do it?
I think it's a very fair point. I thought he ran great in the Cigar Mile last year, just sharp as Tech, a very nice horse in his own right, freaked out, but going the mile from the rail, off the layoff, that's a little bit of a question mark, and you know he's going to get bet, but boy, his Golden Shaheen run was electric. Chad Summers has done a phenomenal job with the 1, Mind Your Biscuits. Let's talk about Bolt D'Oro, the number 2. There are going to be a lot of eyes on this 3-year-old as he takes on older horses. Mick Ruiz obviously had a lot of other options. He could have run this horse in the Belmont. He could have run this horse in the Woody Stevens. He could have run this horse in the Easy Goer against fellow 3-year-olds. He's going to take on the big boys. I'm not going to hold the Derby against this horse, chasing Justify through those fast fractions over a wet track. His prior races are good.
They certainly are. I mean, this is a horse that really, on his best day, he can run with the best 3-year-olds of his generation. Now, can he handle older horses? Can he handle a one-turn mile? Who knows? We'll find out. You're getting a significant weight break if you're a believer in the weight situation. I don't know where he's going to be positioned from a racing standpoint, just because he has a little bit of tactical speed, but this is going to be a totally different animal. I think he's talented. Odds of 4-1 would be a terrible, terrible underlay if you took him.
Let's see where Timeform US has him on the pace projector in the early portion of this race. They do have the 10B Jersey out there on the lead, and in a big field we would expect a fast pace with fast horses. They have Bolt D'Oro relatively close in 4th position. As for B Jersey, this horse has dominated in his last 3 races, beat a couple of next out winners last time. I didn't just beat him, destroyed him in the Steve Sexton Mile. You were so impressed with that race, you made him a horse to watch on out of the gate, and he might be able to get the lead in here. Is there a difference to you between the 2-turn mile and the 1-turn mile? Are you saying 8 furlongs is 8 furlongs is 8 furlongs?
No, I think there is a significant difference in the two. This is more of a little bit of a more stamina sort of influenced race, I believe, a 1-turn mile. But at the same time, the way that Steve Asmussen has talked about this horse, he makes it sound like bigger and better for B Jersey. And what I've seen so far since he's gotten here to the United States, I can't knock any of his efforts. You brought up the fact that he beat 2 next out winners. Shotgun Cowboy came back and won with a 95 in his next start. I believe that was a Lone Star handicap. I think there's a scenario, even with that pace projector and that red bar, I think they just put the pedal to the metal, go out there and say, come and catch me. We're in razor sharp form right now.
The horse sitting in 2nd on the pace projector ships in from Southern California. That's the number 8, Ransom the Moon, who very quietly has earned triple-digit buyer speed figures in 5 of his last 6 races. No match for Bobby Abu Dhabi in the Kona Gold last time out, although he was coming off a layoff, and we can see if Bobby Abu Dhabi validates that race on Friday when he starts as the morning line favorite in the True North. His big win, the Bing Crosby Ransom the Moon, came when he just had a picture-perfect scenario. I'm not sure a mile is his game on dirt, especially chasing a fast horse like B Jersey, but I do respect these connections.
Yeah, to be honest, the distance is the only concern I have, because I think talent-wise he's right there with the best in this field. I just don't know how he's going to translate out to a 1-turn mile. That Kona Gold, I thought it was a good effort. Like you say, Bobby Abu Dhabi beat him on the square. But also keep in mind, this horse, Ransom the Moon, he was forced pretty wide going into that sort of far turn and turning for home. So I think he ran a little bit better than it might look on paper. Again, the question really for me with him is it's not a matter of talent. It's can he handle 8 furlongs?
I think one liner has an outside chance in here for Todd Pletcher, 12-1 on the morning line. He's had 3 starts this year. One, he was beaten by Mind Your Biscuits at Gulfstream Park, but it was his first race in a year. He needed the race. He then came back to win solidly at Keeneland. And last time out, what are you going to say? He just got wired by a nice horse on a wet track. I like him turning back to a mile. He's got good tactical speed. As of right now, the price is right.
I think this is probably what he wants, sort of a one-turn configuration as opposed to going longer. The only thing I'll say is if you take the Southwest out of his past performances, I don't think he's fast enough right now to win a race like this, but there's no reason to think that third start off the bench he's not ready to fire his best.
The 5 Good Samaritan is going to get the pace he needs. He is a one-run closer that is often at the mercy of pace. A nice winner 2 starts back in the New Orleans Handicap, although that race was marred by the breakdown of the player, the horse he probably had to beat in that race, and it wasn't a strong field. Were you disappointed that he didn't get up for second last time out? I mean, I know Hawakam is a nice horse, but I thought Good Samaritan in that race, the way that race shaped up, should have at least run second.
I would agree with that, but at the same time, because I initially had that same thought, but then I thought about it a little bit more, and you had heard the connections after the New Orleans say that the goal was the Met, and I just kind of feel like that Ali Sheba might have just been nothing more than a stopgap to get him to this point. I thought long and hard about picking this horse. I ultimately picked him second. I think this is what he's wanted all along on dirt. I still maintain I think he's better on turf than he is dirt, but if you're going to run him on dirt, run him at one turn coming from off.
Let's talk about the horses coming out of the Churchill Downs Stakes, won by Limousine Liberal, cross-entered in the True North on Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if they run in this spot. He stayed up close to a fast pace that day, and Limousine Liberal, as we know, is a hard trier, and he got his head down at the wire. The 5th place finisher, Chief Cicatrice, came back to validate that race with a 110 buyer performance in the Aristides last year. This horse has handled 7. Why can't he handle 8? And he's got the right stalking gear. He's just a nice horse who's a little underrated.
Yeah, certainly underrated. I'd agree with that. I don't know. I mean, I think he should be able to get out to the 8th furlong. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. I guess there is still always a little bit of a lingering concern for me about, is he really truly grade 1 level, or is he better off in the grade 2s and the grade 3s?
Warriors Club finished ahead behind Limousine Liberal in that Churchill Downs Stakes. He had the right pace scenario to attack. He just couldn't get there as Limousine Liberal turned the tables on him after Warriors Club beat him in the Commonwealth Stakes. I think Warriors Club's okay, but watching the Churchill Downs, I thought Limousine Liberal ran gave a superior performance.
Agreed. If I'm going to sit here and have questions about Limousine Liberal, I have to have the same ones about Warriors Club. But I will say, Lucas has this horse in raging form right now.
I'm terrified of Awesome Slew in a one-turn mile race with pace because I think this is what he wants to do. He has 2 starts this year. The Carter Handicap, where Army Mule just freaked. Awesome Slew probably ran a winning race. Just who knew Army Mule was going to throw up that kind of number? Last time out again, he had the pace scenario. I was disappointed he didn't get there. Maybe he didn't like the wet track.
I suppose it's a possibility. You see that he's 0 for 3 over a wet track, but I'm with you. I was very disappointed because it looked like for a minute he had actually poked ahead in front, and then somehow the other 2 came back on him. To me, that was a very disappointing effort. I would imagine if he's here, he's going to be ready to go. But again, that just kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth.
So always been a buzz about McCracken. 12-1 on the morning line for Ian Wilkes. He came off the layoff to win last time out. A nice prep race for this. He's a little bit slow on paper, but this is a horse that's taken on some very tough competition in his career, and I think they might have found his niche as a one-turn miler.
He's gone one turn 3 times in his career. His debut going 6.5 and twice going a one-turn mile. He's never lost. I think this is what he's wanted all along, and I think down the road, even if you don't get the one-turn mile races very frequently, I think ultimately you're looking at 7/8 of a mile, those 2 types. And keep in mind, the Breeders' Cup happens to be back at Churchill Downs. I think this is what he wants. The question is he good enough? Discreet
Lover is a cool horse. You got to respect every horse that dances every dance, but sometimes they just put him in too tough a spot.
You know, for the longest time, things had looked good. It looked like we had gotten back into a scenario where let's keep him in those listed stakes. Let's get the checks, X, Y, and Z, and now all of a sudden we're back into the deepest end of the pool. I think it's a silly move.
It's such a historic race, the Met Mile. Let's take a look at our selections. I would have to spread a little bit. I just loved what Mind Your Biscuits did in the Shaheen, and going back to what I said in the Open, I can't see any horse in this race doing what he did in the Shaheen, and maybe that's just not the way to handicap it, but I think he's going to get some pace. I think he's going to come with a strong run. B Jersey, your top pick, is my second pick in the race. I'm going 110, 3, and 9, but you've been so impressed with this B Jersey. I agree with you. Put the pedal to the metal, put him on the front, and play catch me if you can.
And you know what? If it doesn't work, at least you fall on your sword. That's the way that you're going to go out. If you're going to lose doing it at your game. And I think it's a scenario breaking from the outside. You send, you try to clear, and you try to just say, come and catch me. I respect a number of horses in here, though. Mind your biscuits. I have to use him. I want to use Good Samaritan. I'm also going to use a little bit of Ransom the Moon just in case there's a scenario where he can get out to that 8th furlong, but I do have a little bit of concern about how far he wants to go.
Race number 9 at Belmont Park on Belmont Stakes Saturday is the Grade 1 $1.2 million Metropolitan Handicap. Bet it with your very own DRF Bets account because you get free cash. Can't do better than free cash. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Met Mile, 4:45 Eastern. Good luck.